I had a really, I had a rough morning this morning. Really rough morning. I had a whole day planned. I was supposed to be doing a live podcast. Honestly, we probably would be finishing up had I actually, went through what was on the schedule for today. But I had a rough day, man. I had a really rough night. I had a rough day today, this morning, and I really was not feeling up to it. And so I cleared my schedule. I told everybody that unfortunately I got to cancel today. I'm dealing with some mental health stuff, and I don't have the bandwidth to do it. I don't have the bandwidth to podcast today. And instead of podcasting and trying to muscle my way through it, I decided I was gonna get on my bike, ride my bike to my workplace where ultimately we shoot the podcast, which is in Bethlehem. Get on the bike, take a route that I've never taken to get there, and see how I feel. And so I left my house earlier this morning, and I went and I worked, mainly just getting things organized, because I don't always have time to do organization things. But did some organizing, and now I'm out here on my bike ride heading back home. And it's a beautiful trail. It's a beautiful day. It's not too hot, not too cool. This bike path it's a really nice trail. It seems well maintained. I got a bunch of nature around me, rivers and trees and animals, plenty of people fishing out here, which is pretty cool. Like, this trail is kind of like bustling with life. I didn't even know this was like that popular. But, I thought a squirrel was chasing me for a second. So yeah, I'm on my bike ride home, and I was just thinking, I'm like now's a good time to maybe go live and maybe talk, tell some stories. What made me turn on the live really though was a lot of people don't know the origin story of the Dope Individuals on podcast. I started this almost 3 years ago, this upcoming winter. And a lot of people, nobody really ever asked me why or how I came up with the idea and stuff. But years ago, about 6 years ago now, I used to be a truck driver. And what's up? I used to be a truck driver, and I used to listen to podcasts, because if you know anything about truck driving, you could be on the road for hours and hours and hours, and nobody's up. You're moving around at different weird hours of the night. And so I used to listen to podcasts a lot. I used to also watch movies, listen to music, but podcasts became a really prevalent thing in my life at that time. Before then, I didn't even listen to podcasts. I probably didn't even know what a podcast was before 2017. And you can only listen to so much music, right? And at the time, the Joe Budden podcast was really popular. And when I started listening to it, they probably had already 100 episodes in the tuck. And so I started listening to podcasts. I started engaging with their social media platforms and things like that. And for 2-3 years, I was just a big fan of the Joe Budden podcast and what they do, and the things that they talked about and stuff like that. And so when I stopped truck driving, March, a couple days before the entire country went on lockdown in America. My job actually had let us go. They were being cheap, and they didn't want to pay for the insurance for us truck drivers. So they sold us like we're freaking cattle or something to another company, and I didn't like the offer they had. So I took my severance, and then 3 days after I took my severance and stuff, the world shut down for COVID. And I was like, damn. And I didn't really know what I was gonna do. Around the same time, I started experiencing depression, which was foreign to me. I didn't know shit about depression. I kind of thought it was like people ultimately doing it to themselves, not being able to move on and let things go. And boy, was I wrong. But after battling with depression and working really hard to gather the tools to properly, work through my stuff, I was like, okay, so what's next? Truck driving is over. Um, I started thinking about all the things that I'm good at, talking to people, building connections, helping people build connections. I'm very passionate about certain things, and not I'm very knowledgeable in certain things. And so I was like, maybe I could do a podcast. The Joe Budden podcast seemed like a very simple thing. There's a couple cameras, a couple microphones, maybe some people to bounce ideas and talk shit with, and then boom, you're off to the races. Man, was I wrong. 3 years later, I was wrong. I was very wrong. However, I did stick with it, and I'm very glad I did because, I've amassed a following now. People recognize who I am. People want to be part of what I'm building. And the work that I do is very gratifying, especially because I get to choose it. I don't got somebody over my shoulder bossing me around and things of that nature. Like, I get to tell the stories and promote the stories that I want to share. I get to involve myself in conversations that I might not necessarily be privy to on a regular, everyday basis out in the world. And so, like, I'm very pleased with the things that I've done in the past couple years with the podcast. But when I had decided that I was going to shoot a podcast, I didn't know anything about podcasting other than what I watched. And I started out at my dining room table. Today it looks very different. I have a space, I have better equipment, I have some help from time to time. But, the goal of setting out to build something for myself and stick to it is what it's all about, man. And I sit here many years later and I get to reflect on it. I started this out with saying I had a really rough time, and so I decided to clear my schedule for the day, cancel my podcast for today, and just go on a long bike ride. I'm currently I took 7 miles to get to my workplace in Bethlehem, and now I'm on my 7 miles back to get back to my house and stuff. And I really wanted to share like the beginning story of how the Dope Individuals Only podcast began, because I realized, like, as much talking as I do, as many people as I have up on the podcast and all the different things that I get into, like, a lot of people don't know the origin story of the Dope Individuals Only podcast and how it came to be. Shoot, even the name itself, Dope Individuals Only, when I first decided I was gonna start a podcast, that was the first name I ever came up with. I wasn't sold. So for months and months and months, I delayed creating it and dropping my first episode because I wasn't sold on the name. And I remember I was talking to my wife, and I'm like, I can't figure out a name for this thing. I don't think I'm going to be able to do a podcast. And she said, well, you already have the name, which is why you can't figure out another name, because you already got it. And I went with it. And one of the craziest things is like, people love the name of the show, Dope Individuals Only. And like, it sounds exclusive, but it's really a platform that is all about inclusivity, and giving everyday people that are doing extraordinary things an opportunity to share what they do in their lives and how they help people in their own lives, whether in their community, abroad, in their classrooms, in their whatever. And so, like, my platform is all about inclusion and making sure people feel like they have a voice, and just providing a space and platform where everyday people have a voice to share certain things. Everybody always thinks, like, you got to be famous, you got to have millions of followers, thousands of followers, you need to whatever. Like, nah, man, all of our stories are unique. All of our stories are powerful. It just matters, like, what are we gonna do with those things? And at this point, I've amassed 86 episodes, which is incredible. Many podcasts don't have 86 episodes, but I got 86 episodes. I built my TikTok up to 2,000 followers from zero. My Instagram followers up to 1,100 from zero. My YouTube subscribers from zero all the way up to 2,500. Like, it's kind of crazy, man. And so I say all this with, you can do anything you set your mind to. You really just got to believe it and stay consistent at things. And that's very hard in itself, but it is more than possible. You know, you just got to find the thing that you're willing to fight for, the thing that you're willing to show up for, even on days like the one I had today, which is I wanted to lay in bed and cover my head all day. But instead, I chose to get on my bike and ride 14 miles to clear my mind and reset myself. And I'll be honest, I'm still not feeling the greatest. This bike ride and that little bit of work I did not solve all my problems, but I do feel better than what I felt earlier, and I think that's something that I could build on going forward. The other reason I wanted to get on this, other than sharing the origin story, is sharing the fact that like everybody has bad days, and I think as people we could be a little bit more empathetic to people having bad days. And I'm not saying the people that gaslight each other and try to always be the victim in situations, but I'm talking about like people that show up, try to put their best foot forward, and they're genuinely in need of something that they may not typically need on a regular, you know. That was me today, man. That was me today. I'm not somebody that struggles a lot with mental health, or at least I like to say that, you know. But I feel like I'm pretty even keel on a regular basis. But today and yesterday was a really, really rough one for me, man. A really rough one. Even to the mindset of like, it got so dark for me in certain moments. Like, it made me feel like I just didn't even want to do life no more. Like, I don't think that life should be this hard sometimes. And life is very, very hard. And as many books, as many stories, and all of these different things we share to help the next person, help the next generation, like nobody has the answers for the battles that you as an individual person are going to face day in, day out, myself included. And like I run into days like today where, I'll be honest, I want to give up, you know, and I know that's not the answer. And giving up is easy. Giving up is very easy, which is why I continue to fight. But sometimes it feels like, how much can one person take before it's no longer worth fighting? You know, it's like life in itself is like, it feels like an endless battle. Wow, I had a phone call. Sorry, guys. But yeah, who wants to fight forever? Like, who wants to be in an endless battle with your mental, or the world, or your spouse, or whoever it is? Like, but no, I don't want to fight forever, you know. And sometimes my life feels like an endless bout. You know, I might get a moment to go to my corner and get a little bit of water and wipe off, but I gotta continuously go back out there and fight until the next round is over, and that's exhausting. I don't think that life should feel like a fight. I don't think that life should feel like a battle. I don't know what life should feel like, because I don't think that it should all be sunshine and rainbows. If that's the purpose, then what's the point of really being here? But should it be this hard? Should moments be this hard in life? Man, I wanted to quit. And that's why I'm on this bike. And that's why I'm going for this long ass fucking ride that I've never done before. Because I can't quit. Man, I don't even know if anybody out there is listening or watching, but today I felt more alone than I have in a long time. Today, I had a lot less fight than I've had in a long time. And man, there was almost nobody I could call to tell this to. And I'm pretty sure there's probably somebody out there I could have called to tell this to, but at the same time, I don't want to. I don't want to burden people with my problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like my problems are for me to figure out, and it's not for somebody else to carry or help me carry. Like, you know, everybody got their own problems. But shit gets heavy. Shit gets heavy for sure. It was kind of funny. I mean, a squirrel. Yeah, that I heard something rustling in the bushes. As you can see, I'm off the trail now. I finished the 7 miles back Now I just gotta climb like 400 feet, I guess, maybe more, on my mountain bike to get to my house, because I live all the way at the top of a humongous fucking hill. This is the one issue with living in a valley. You know, when I say valley, I live in the Lehigh Valley. But this is the one issue. You live in a valley, you got a whole lot of peaks and valleys to go up, you know, and whether you walking them, biking them, driving them, it doesn't really matter. These shits push you to your breaking point sometimes. Like, my legs are on fire right now. My gosh. And I'm on the two lowest gears on my bike. I'm on one on both gears, and it's still a bitch. You know, I'm not gonna be on the live too much longer. I'll tell you guys a little bit about me before I go. My name is Eric. I go by Eric the Host for a couple reasons. First and foremost, I'm the host of the Dope Individuals Only podcast, which you're watching right now, the channel. And Eric is also the host of this body. I know that within, you can see the surface, but this is just physical form. I know that within, there's something deeper, something more purposeful, something that was put here to achieve something. What it is, I don't really know. But, you know, every interaction that I have with everybody in the world, I do my best to lead those interactions with love. And I always try to have a positive interaction as much as possible. You know, I feel like the world does a great job of making sure that we're divided, making sure that we see the differences in everybody and each other, and they want to keep us separate from gaining understanding, building relationships, building community with each other. And that is literally my fight. My fight is against that, because I know that together we are stronger. I know that together we are way more powerful. And I know that together we can create understanding. It don't matter what you look like, where you come from, what language you speak, what music you listen to, what you dress like. We're not different. We're not very different. Yeah, there's different things about us, but we, at our core, we are not different. You ask pretty much anybody what they want out of life, they probably gonna say, I want love in my life. I want to make a good living so I can care for my family, and I want to have success. You know what I'm saying? And that theme is universal. And almost every time I talk to somebody, those are the things that they want. Those are the things I want, you know? But somehow we allow people to convince us that we're different. Somehow we allow people to convince us that we are each other's enemy, when in fact, it's not that at all. And so my whole platform is about combating that idea with powerful conversations with ordinary people who are doing incredible things to show each other that, hey, we're not very different at all. And hey, even though I'm not famous, or hey, even though I'm not a millionaire, or hey, even though I don't got a platform that thousands of people visit every day, I got an incredible story, and I got an incredible story or experience to share with you. And that's what the whole platform is about. Dope Individuals Only, sharing powerful stories, ordinary people sharing very powerful and extraordinary stories. You know what I'm saying? And they're doing dope shit in their own life. And the craziest part is that these people, every time they come on my show, they share a piece of themselves with whoever's willing to watch or listen. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard to get people to be transparent. It's very hard to get people to talk about tough things that some of us probably won't even talk to a therapist about. But they come up and they chop it up with me, and they leave a piece of themselves on my show. And because of that, I am honored, man. I am honored to the max. I got over 80 episodes of people doing that, people from all walks of life, people with very, very high success, and people rebuilding themselves in their 30s. You know what I'm saying? People from all walks of life. And so there's value in everything, as long as you can see it. As long as you're willing to give it the opportunity to show you its value, whether it's people, places, or things. You know what I'm saying? And so I'll leave y'all with this. I had a really tough day today. I wanted to quit today, but don't quit. Keep fighting, keep going, keep pushing love, keep pushing positivity. If you having a hard day, shake yourself out of it. Get up and do something you love to do. Get up and do something that is out of your ordinary. Challenge yourself. Reach out to somebody. You know what I'm saying? We're not alone in this shit. We're not. And that's why I'm on this with y'all. It's because even though I didn't want to call nobody in my phone, I got on here to share a moment with y'all. And so even in this moment, even though I don't know who's watching, even though I don't know who's commenting, I know that I'm not alone because you guys are here with me. But I want to say shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you're still amongst the stars. And I'm Eric, the host. This is a Dope Individuals Only podcast, and we'll catch y'all soon. Make sure y'all subscribe. Peace.